sick, so just bear with me. Good afternoon, I'm Cameron Ariaga. Before I begin, who drives a car, or takes the bus, or has a way of getting back into places? So, most of those cars and vehicles we're using now are powered by fossil fuels. And fossil fuels are good for now, but they're limited. We're gonna run out of it one time. So my argument today is that electric cars will replace the traditional internal combustion motor in the near future. And this is because the electric car is becoming more cost efficient, is more eco-friendly, it's relatively more reliable, and it's quicker. So to the first point I made is it's more cost efficient. Thanks to government incentives, the cost could come down to almost $14,000 off the MSRP. In California, they're giving $7,000 for electric vehicle rebates that are purchased or leased that have zero emission requirements and plug-in hybrid light-duty vehicles. And then the Department of Energy's website says that the IRS will give back $2,500 to $750 for the purchase of a new e-vehicle for use in the United States. And it's also cheaper to run a electric vehicle or EV because it's cheaper to fill it up with electricity than it is with gas. Renee Cho from Columbia University, they estimate that EVs can save $750 to $1,200 a year just by filling it up, compared to having a car that could drive 27 miles to gallon with gas being at $3.50 a gallon. And so, with them being cost efficient, they could also be eco-friendly because they limit greenhouse gases and they have no tailpipe emissions. Mike Orkert from MIT Technology Review, they stated that if EVs catch on as fast as research projects, it could reduce oil use by 21 million barrels a day and cut CO2 emissions by 3.2 billion tons a year, which is equivalent to 60% of the United States production today. And Renee Cho, she quotes the Union of Concerned Scientists, which state that EVs running on electricity from renewable power, like wind and solar, virtually have no global warming emissions whatsoever, and that even EVs powered by electricity generated mainly from coal produces fewer global warming emissions than fossil fuel cars that can average 27 miles to gallon. For the fossil fuel car to be able to get up to the same amount of efficiency that an electric car has, it would need to average 54 miles to the gallon. And if that electric car is powered by solar energy, the internal combustion car would have to get 500 miles to gallon just to meet the same. The electric cars are also more reliable. Cho from Columbia says that the internal combustion motor has 2,000 moving parts, which could all go wrong, whereas the electric motor has about 20. And she also, the Union of Concerned Scientists reported that EVs could be cheaper to maintain because they do not require any oil change or timing belt maintenance that more normal cars that we have to do. And the fourth point I have is electric cars are quicker than internal combustion motors. Motor Trend demonstrated that because they had a 4,891 pound Tesla Model S P100D beat almost basically every car they ever tested. And they said in their article, in our testing, no production car has ever cracked 2.3 seconds from 0 to 60 miles an hour, but Tesla has in 2.27 seconds. And they also said that in regards to the 0 to 30 miles an hour test, it's the new benchmark car, and the next closest car to get to it is the Porsche 911 Turbo S. The Grand Tour, which is an automotive television show, they showed that the electric Tesla Model X, an SUV, has beaten an Audi R8 supercar they showed that an electric supercar, the Rimac Concept 1, is faster than a Lamborghini Aventador and a Honda NSX. And they've also, and then Motor Trend has showed that the 7-passenger 4-door sedan Model S Tesla has been supercars such as the Ferrari 488 GTB, Aston Martin DB11, Porsche 911 Turbo, and McLaren 570 GT as their driver's car choice of year when they did the World's Greatest Drag Race 7. Electric cars have shown great leaps forward from where they have come, and within the next couple of years, they are on track to overtake and replace the internal combustion motor. Thank you for listening.
Well, I suspect that the controversy here is really, how quickly these things are going to happen. Electric cars have been a common thing for a while. That they're going to replace the internal combustion engine is going to, take some time. There are other issues related to this changeover that are going to be involved, and I'm not sure that you talked about all of them. The cost issue, I think, is an interesting one. It does seem strange, though, that you have to get a $7,000 bribe from the state of California and a $2,500 bribe from the federal government to buy one of these cars. That seems to suggest that they aren't cost competitive without some kind of incentive. So the fact that we have to provide an incentive, well, the incentive does make it a little bit more comparable, but that's not a function of the car. That's a function of government policy. And so I think that that's a little problematic with your argument there. The argument about it being eco-friendly, you do need to show us that the eco issues are the things that are going to drive consumer demand for these things. I'm sure some consumers will care about that. Others are going to be worried about price point, for instance, and safety issues. You've given us one reason that we might want to invest in an electric car for environmental reasons. I'm not sure that those are the only reasons, though, that people choose automobiles. I'm not even sure that it's a primary reason. The cost issue, the best piece of information that you have on cost comparison is that that the EVs are going to save you $750 to $1,200 a year, in contrast to the other cars based on a $3.50 a gallon price point. Well, so if gas remains below $3.50 a gallon, what's the savings going to be? It doesn't sound like there's likely to be any savings. So the idea that these cars are going to be advantageous depends on future price increases. So maybe you need to have an argument here that talks about how the prices of gasoline are going to go up in the near future. Like I said, the CO2 issue is okay, assuming that drives people's policy. There is some discussion about whether or not renewable energy would be the source of powering these things. You mentioned it, but you don't really talk about how likely it is that renewable power is going to provide that energy. And so a lot of this there's going to be trade-offs based on the point at which the energy originates, and I think that that's probably a place where the respondent is going to be developing some arguments there. The issue of its speed is an interesting one. On the fourth point, you've got a lot of examples there, and if speed is a motivating factor in purchase of automobiles and the idea that something is viable, then I think you've got a pretty good argument. One of the things that makes, when people say these things and I wonder about it, okay, so how come we aren't seeing these cars being used in competitions? And I suspect that might be because the recharging takes a little bit longer than refueling does, and if you're doing the 24 hours at Le Mans or the Indy 500, that there'll be issues there. If we're just talking about the drag race, it sounds like you've got it set, but if you're talking about a longer race, it's a different issue. So, why the 0 to 60 standard, I know it's a pretty standard measurement, but why that's the standard that should influence people, that's what you need to develop a little bit more. Again, I don't know that I need to go that fast. I live in Southern California. There's cars in front of me that will never let me go that fast. I'd like to hit the I'd like to hit the pedal and go that fast when the light turns green, but the car in front of me never moves as fast as I need it to. Damn. All right. And you are not allowed to breathe around me because I don't want any of that on me. Stop it.